Florida sheriff. This is in 1955. I was alive at this time. I was 4 years old, but this is in my lifetime and the lifetime of many of you. This article in Ebony magazine, reprinted in over a Talking Points memo today. It shows a picture of a family, husband and wife, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 children. And they had been considered white. Well, I'll read you the article because you can't see their pictures. Overnight, the Platts, free, quote, white Americans, keep in mind, this is 1955 in Ebony magazine. Overnight, the Platts, free white Americans, became Negroes. Whites all their lives, the Platt family crossed the racial borderline after Willis V. McCall, feared Florida sheriff and sometimes, quote, anthropologist, end quote, found the broad noses and brown skins of some of the Platt children offensive to his sense of whiteness. Perhaps the first white family to learn firsthand what it means to be a Negro, barred from the best schools because of a nose, ostracized because of the tint of the skin, orange picker Allen and Laura Platt termed their adventure a tragic nightmare. Displaying documents that identify the family as white Americans of Irish and Indian ancestry, Allen asked sadly, why does this happen to us? Part of the answer lies in the brown skins of the Platts. This caused open wonder when the family settled in the little resort town of Mount Dora, Florida last fall. The Platt children, however, attended white schools and were accepted as whites. The trouble started when Denzel, the brownest of the Platts, was barred from a white Mount Dora theater. Then Sheriff McCall began his anthropological examination. Accompanied by 2 armed deputies and a photographer, Sheriff McCall descended on the Platt household in the dark of night. The frightened, hysterical youngsters were lined up Gestapo fashion and photographed. Earlier, Allen said, Sheriff McCall commented, you know, Denzel favors, as in looks like, an N-word. And after a squint-eyed examination, the bespectacled sheriff pointed to Laura Bell, 13, and said, I don't like the shape of that one's nose. 5 of the Platt children were then barred from the modern white school. A little later, the Platt's landlady was threatened, and the family had to move, first to another house near Mount Dora, and finally into neighboring Orange County, legally safe from Sheriff McCall. As Allen appealed to the governor for common justice, the search for non-white whites continued in McCall-run Lake County. 2-part Indian boys were barred from a white school in Eustis. 1955. This is a year after Brown v. Board. You know, I mentioned earlier, I was talking about the South, and what do we do about the South? You know, if we didn't have these southern states dragging down our statistics, they have the greatest poverty, they have the greatest crime rates, they have the highest rates of sexually transmitted diseases, the highest rates of teenage pregnancies, the greatest inequality. Their politicians are actively working to prevent people of color from voting, and old people and young people. If we didn't have the South weighing us down, this country would actually be in pretty good shape. And politically, we might start looking like Canada or New Zealand. Like with the national health care system. I mean, the only states, all of the states except one who have refused to expand Medicaid are former slave holding states. It's the old South.